Good day to thee, my lords and ladies. Now, today we're going to be working on a little project for my boyfriend's costume. Now, I was just going to do a shirt and some bracers, but is that really a full costume? It's just a shirt and a bracer. Now, to fix that problem, I was scrolling Pinterest and then I saw some lovely mantles made of fur. And so I thought, yes, he needs one of those. However, I had a problem. I do not have the funds for a fur pelt, nor the resources of where to get one. So my solution to that is a bath mat. I got this bath mat from Ross. I'm not sure where it originally came from, but it's soft. It's so fuzzy, and the back side is a little pleathery, so it looks like it could actually be a pelt of some kind, which I love the look of. It's going to be great. So basically, the idea is to cut this and shape this and loop this so that it will drape so perfectly over one's shoulder. And then also hide the fact that the loopy grommet thingies in the shirt are not the same size. But that's just a bonus. So, let's get into it. Alright, so the very first thing in construction for this mantle is to turn the bath mat upside down and then trace along the bottom edge. This is going to give me the squiggly, kind of natural pelt looking line. It doesn't necessarily matter the type of squiggles that you do, just kind of go in low or long, sweeping arcs. That way you can cut them out. And that's going to help it look a bit more like it came from a real animal instead of a rectangle. Once I was satisfied with my angles, I went ahead and just took my X-Acto knife and cut along the line that I had made. Now, make sure that you're doing this while the mat is upside down, because if you cut with scissors while it's right side up, or even an X-Acto knife for that matter, it's going to make the fur look all weird, and then your beautiful mantle is going to look like the critter head mange, which is a look, but not the look that I personally am going for. But if that's what you want, you do you. Once I was finished with all the cutting, I simply flipped the mat over and gave it a good stroking. That's going to make sure that any of the fuzz or fur that did get cut is going to fall out evenly, instead of be shedding and being a nuisance. I did cut 2 slits into the rug as well, which is what I'm sliding my belt through. Though I couldn't quite make up my mind on which way I wanted to put it in, so I must have pulled it out and put it back about 15 or 20 times. Once my belt was in, I draped it over my shoulder to see how it looked. I was pretty happy with the overall look of it. However, one problem that I had is it kept slipping off my shoulder and making my shoulder stick out, which is not really what I wanted it to do. To solve that problem, I dug through my little Ziploc bag of leather scraps I had picked up from the Renaissance Fair several years back and just never got around to using. I found one that would be wide enough and that would create like a shoulder pad, which would give the short strap some extra room to sit on. I just marked how wide it needed to be for the holes, took my X-Acto knife and cut slits in it. After threading the belt through the leather strap, or piece, I tried it back on to see how that would work. It was certainly much better, but I still needed some fixing, although the pad did stay in place exactly where I wanted it. Not being quite sure exactly how I wanted to fix my little problem, I went ahead and just moved on to the next part of the project I knew I could deal with. The leather piece that I was going to be using as a shoulder pad was, well, a little scraggly. It had been in a Ziploc bag for years. So I sprayed it down with water and put a little shelf on it to keep it flat, which would, well, flatten it out and make it sit more nicely on my shoulder. After that, I moved on to the next part. You see, the two holes could stretch and pull and then tear and become unusable over time, especially since my boyfriend has a habit of being a little rough on his clothing. I wanted this thing to be able to hold up and be used for year after year. So I took a long length of twine and originally tried to thread it through my needle, except I didn't select one that had a big enough eye, so I changed tacks. You'll see me rubbing the beeswax across my length of twine, which is going to help keep it protected and strong, and help keep it from fraying over time, again, in constant use. After that, I took a length of normal thread, threaded my needle, and then wrapped the twine around the hole and stitched it into place. That's going to keep so much friction from being put directly on the back of this rug. Now you might be wondering, won't that make the backside of the rug look a little funny while it pins down the fur? And initially it does, but it's an easy fix. All you gotta do is flip it over and then comb your fingers through it gently to release the little tufts of fur. Once that was done, I rethreaded the belt and adjusted it to where I wanted it to sit on my shoulder. I decided it needed to be adjustable since I couldn't very well measure exactly where this was going to sit on my boyfriend, since, again, that would ruin the surprise. So I decided to make it adjustable. Simply, I took a pencil, marked where I wanted the end of it to be, took an awl and punched holes through both sides, and then took another piece of the twine, waxed it with beeswax, which is very important this time since we'll be sewing with it, threaded it through the eye of a very large leatherworking needle, and began to stitch it down like normal. The next step in the process was to slip the other end of the belt through the loop that I had made. I marked it at the end with the awl again, and then put one of those metal D-rings on the end. That was going to keep it from slipping out at the end. Plus, it could be handy for later. Other than that simple adjustment, this process is the exact same. Wax the twine, punch the holes, and stitch it together. Once that process was complete, it was time to try it on again and see how it looked. The strap worked perfectly. It would stay where I wanted it to as long as I had tension on the belt, so I'm thinking that with that D-ring, he could clip something to it which will hold it exactly where he needs it to be. Now, this is the one piece of his costume that will actually kind of fit me, so I thought we may as well put a whole look together and see what it might look like if I were to make one for myself. Okay, so I don't have time to do a full costume with hair, makeup, and everything, but the way I would have fully worn this is with my hair in some sort of elaborate braid, and if I was going for more of a druid type look, I would have done some face paint and different things like that. However, as a just quickly throw together, just a basic Viking dress, my horn, and then the, of course, mantle, I think it's a pretty good, simple look. And honestly, if this is all you have, then that would be a great Renfez costume just on its own. The bath mat took probably 3 hours total for me to do, so really, it's not that bad in a pinch. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. The rest of the costumes will be, or the rest of this costume will be coming out pretty soon, probably, but I can't release any of these videos, obviously, until I actually give him the costume, because that would ruin the surprise. Anyways, thanks for watching!